books, produced CDs and DVDs, wrote countless articles, and touched the lives of many people worldwide before becoming homeless, broke, and diagnosed with a thyroid tumor. Then a miraculous turn of events led him to the teachings of A Course in Miracles. That's when he discovered that to live a happy, fulfilling, joyful, and peaceful life requires no struggle at all. And he says, my purpose in life is to bring love, peace, joy, happiness, and encouragement to every person whom I come in contact with, to help them surrender to the power within which guides their lives easily and effortlessly in order to experience their true self. And this is his mission in life, and I introduce you to Nick Arandes.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, just real quick, I tend to speak really fast. So I'm going to do my best to slow down, honoring the fact that you people have an accent. Actually, it was interesting because I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. And I found out that Reverend Julie, also her family's from Puerto Rico. So that I find it kind of fascinating. And of course, I moved to America because I really wanted to learn the language. And after 10 years in Miami, Florida, my Spanish got so much better. Look at it. So here I am in good old Carlsbad, California. And this actually town brings a lot of memories because the first book that I read that got me on the spiritual path back in 1989 was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I believe that her company is based in Carlsbad. So I read that book in Miami, Florida, and here I am all of a sudden speaking in Carlsbad, so I find that fascinating. So she told you a little bit about my background, so I'll share a little bit more as I'm speaking, but you will notice that today's topic is a New Year's resolution. Now, out of curiosity, how many of you, by show of hands, had your New Year's resolution, you wrote them down or whatever? Anybody here? Okay, that's okay. Some people write their goals, the things that they want to accomplish and all that kind of stuff, which is interesting, it's nice. But this is not what we're going to be talking about today. And I'll share you where I'm coming from, because I was part of that movement where it teaches you how to have goals, how to go for the things you want and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm inviting you here is that the New Year's resolution is not about you telling God your plans. It's the other way around. You become open so that God can use you. It's a total paradigm shift because for years I was taught that I had to know what I want. I had to know exactly what my mission, my vision, my stuff is, and I have to go for it. But the problem is that you are the power and the presence of God. You are perfect, whole, and complete just as you are. And if you start looking for that stuff out there, you'll miss what is right here in you. So in a way, although I thought that I was teaching people how to go for the things they wanted, what I was teaching them is how to move outside of themselves to try to look for something that they don't have to look for because it's already within. That's why it says, seek you first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, not says seek you first the symbols, because there's nothing to seek for once you recognize who you really are. But it takes courage. It takes courage because when you're turning within and your heart says make a left turn, the whole world is telling you make a right turn. And what found for me is that I was finding myself knowing that I wanted to make left turns, but for some reason I felt like I was by myself because I was trained by all these motivational teachers and speakers and all that kind of stuff, even spiritual teachers, that I have to know for what, that I have to go for the stuff I want. So I was writing my New Year's resolution, so to speak, and I would go to church who teaches me how to pray so I can manifest what I wanted. And they're trying to go with a scientific prayer. And I'm thinking, how come my prayers doesn't seem to go answered? Have you anybody had that experience before? And the answer is simple. Because when I pray with the way I was taught to pray, the way we pray is by bringing God down to our level. Meanwhile, God is saying, no, you don't understand. I'm trying to bring you up to mine. I gave you the kingdom and you're asking for little stuff. And you call that a great thing to go for, but you don't understand. It's like the prodigal son story. The story of prodigal son is that about a child who has everything. God gave him everything. And then he says to God, you know, Father, I tell you this. I think I can do this by myself. So he goes out. And what happens? He begins to experience scarcity, starvation. But there's a problem now. He thinks in the back of his mind that if he goes back home, he's going to be punished. Because God is angry at him. I mean, I gave you everything, and he left. But sooner or later comes a time when he realized, you know what, I'm going to have to go home because I cannot make it on my own. I just can't. I'm going to have to go home. I'll be a lower servant. I'll work my way up, and hopefully I'll get to the place where I was before I left. So he's very scared. He starts walking home. When he's getting closer and his father sees him, his father goes ahead and opens his arms and throws a whole party and everything. Thank God my son who was once lost, now he's found. Which is a big shock for the son. But that's exactly what your father is trying to do with you. We are the one putting limitations to our good because we thought we knew better. So what was happening for me is that I spent most of my time chasing stuff, things I wanted. And I was trying to figure, how can I pray to get for what I want? But the problem is that, okay, well, how come Jesus was manifesting miracles? So how can I pray like him? And then one night, in a shift of awareness, comes very clear. You got to understand, Jesus didn't come here to manifest anything. He came here to do God's work. And as a result of doing God's work, he couldn't help himself but to manifest miracles. In other words, the manifesting miracles process was mostly a byproduct of him doing what he was supposed to do. And each and every one of you has something that is burning deep within you that wants to burst through, but the reason why you cannot let that through is because you were taught that if you have your pieces of the puzzle together, when you have the money in the bank account, then you can do what you wanted to do. When you have the pieces, everything on the row, then you can do it. But the problem is that the way that everything reveals itself through you is moment by moment. Not me projecting what I want, because that which I think I want is based upon my littleness, ego, fearful base of how I think my life should be. I remember one of those coaches, whatever, told me one day, hey, baby, if you don't have any goals, how do you know where you're going? I said, bro, I always know where I'm going. It reveals itself in each and every moment. Now, go try to tell that to your friends over there. They're going to think you're crazy. What's your 5-year goal? What's your 2-year goal? What's your 6-month goal? I don't know. I don't have any. I used to have them, and I wait for them, and I struggled a lot. I used to visualize what I thought I wanted. It was a struggle too. You got to put a lot of energy into all that stuff. It's a lot of work. But when you become open, visualization turns into a vision. And a vision is already in you. You don't have to go somewhere else to find it. But you have to be willing to let go of all your preconceived ideas of what you think you want or what you think is best for you, so that that vision can reveal itself. That's the difference. It's simple, but not easy. Why? Because we have layers and layers and layers and layers of beliefs. One belief after the other one, another belief that is blocking the very life that you are. You see, in the self-help movement, I was taught that if I exchange one belief for another one, then I can just empower myself. No, you just keep blocking the light. That's what the Course in Miracles says. This course is not about teaching you the meaning of love. It's impossible, because you are love. The purpose of the course is to remove the blocks to the awareness of love presence. So if you are the light right here, this is who you are, perfect, whole, and complete, and I put a belief on top of it, then another belief, and another belief, then I'll go to somebody who teach me how to change that belief and put it into another one. Am I really helping? No. I have to remove all the blocks. And then the light reveals itself. That's the simplicity of the process. But how can I do so when my whole life is focusing on the out there? That's what it says, be still and know that I am God. It doesn't say, just listen to everything out there so that they can tell you who you are. But it was a process. And the process, like I said, it seems, it's very simple. But when we have our emotions getting engaged, our fears begins to come up. And why is it that the fears come up? So that we can look at them and realize that they don't have any power over us. But I was told by any teacher that if I feel good, then my life will be fine. But the Course in Miracles says to me, no, you don't understand. I have to look at the stuff that I don't want to see, so you realize that they don't have any power over you. Otherwise, I'll be always running away from that which is still there in the first place, who caused the problem in the first place. It's like a little child who's afraid of a boogie monster. Okay? You know that there's no boogie monster, right? But he doesn't know that. So what is the only thing you can do so that he can forever get rid of that fear of the boogie monster? What's the only thing you can do?
Show him it isn't there.
Exactly. Take him to the closet. Now, do you think that he's going to go there with you when he thinks there's a boogie monster there? Of course not. But what God is trying to tell us, look, you are the light of the world. And the only thing you're afraid of is of your light, not your darkness. And I'm going to show you that there's no boogie monster there. But in order for me to eradicate that fear from your mind, you have to be willing to come with me, and I'll take you to the closet so you can see that there's no boogie monster. That's why A Course in Miracles rattles people cages, because what it's asking you is to look. The ego doesn't want you to look, because the ego thrives on the idea of fear. So what we do is that as I open myself to God and I said, Holy Spirit, God, please help me because I want to experience my true self. God says, okay, here's how it works. I'm going to guide you by the hand. We're going to take little steps, okay? Because you don't want to take the child, drag him into the closet. It's going to scare the heck out of him. But you little by little tell him, okay, come here. When he's scared, that's okay. You can stop right there. That's what the Course says, you know. The curriculum is very individualized. And you can only take what you're ready to take at any point in time. You still have to take it anyway because you're going to experience that you are the cover and the presence of God whether you like it or not. You're going to have the experience. The question is how long you want to keep delaying it. And what is delaying it? Our fears. Our illusory fears of something that doesn't exist. So we take the child until we get to a place that once he sees that there's nothing in there, the fear is eradicated forever. But if I go to somebody who teaches me how to feel good, the fear is going to still there because I still believe it's a boogie monster. What happens is my attention is something that feels good. But the fear is still in there. And the problem is that the way the ego works, the ego gives you something and takes it away. How many of you have many of the things that you wanted happening and then it's taken away again? You got the money you wanted, but then you get cancer. You got the relationship you wanted, and then you end up bankrupt. You got the career that you thought is going to make you happy, doesn't make you happy, now you're miserable. Because the ego's mantra is seek and never find. But when you open yourself up to the part of you that is trying to reveal itself through you, if you're meant to be a musician, you will be a musician. You cannot be anything else. Period. If you're meant to be a minister, you'll be a minister. You cannot be anything else. I was a stand-up comedian professionally. I was making almost $2,500 a performance. I remember working with Chris Rock in Columbia, South Carolina, and we're doing a conversation in the green room, and I remember that he was sharing with his cousins that, you know, what do you do when you're in a hotel room? And Chris Rock would say, we just sit down and write. Well, that's not what I was doing, because he was no longer fulfilling. And I did have the deal with 20th Century Fox for a television sitcom. I had a lot of doors opening up. Some of these people that are now filling up theaters, they're my friends. I did Star Search with Carlos Mencia. And I did a lot of, so I was in the right path to a huge career that I could have explored. I was, you know, Puerto Rican, I was, you know, had the looks and all that stuff. You know, I was Hispanics in the time in the 80s when I was actually, things started moving, not that. But something was happening within me, a shift was taking place, and I could not point fingers what it was. And it's because that was part of the preparation for my ultimate purpose. And now what I'm doing here, this is far much more fulfilling to me than theaters with thousands of people give me a standing ovation doing something that was no longer what I was supposed to be doing. Which remind me of Cat Stevens. Anybody know who Cat Stevens is? Okay? Anybody doesn't know who Cat Stevens is? Okay? Cat Stevens was one of the biggest stars in the 70s. 60s or 70s, remember? And then he had a transformation when he ended up giving his life to the Creator, whatever you want to call it. In an interview, he said, people don't understand how come I gave up everything. I had money, fame, fortune to do this. He said, well, first of all, now that I'm doing the work that I feel I'm here to do, I am far much fulfilled than I was when I was doing the work as a performer, getting all the attention. But here's the thing that really caught my attention the most, he says. And the second thing is that now that I'm doing the work that I'm here to do, I am far much busier than I was when I was traveling all over the world as a touring musician. Because you see, when you begin to connect with a part of you that is trying to drive you, you don't have to set up goals because you're not driving, you are now driven. But you cannot be driven if you keep telling God your plans, because your plans always come from a preconceived idea of what you think is going to make you happy. And I'm here to tell you that no matter what plans you have, it's not going to make you happy. It's not going to bring you fulfillment. And you don't have to take my word for this. Continue going your own the way you want to do. I'm just here to share the message. That's the New Year's resolution. The New Year's resolution is drop everything you think you know. Drop everything you think you want. Because when you stop chasing what you think you want, what you truly want will reveal itself through you. That's the trick. I often say this. It's a paradox. Within you is the power to create everything that you can possibly imagine. But in order to access that power, you have to let go of each and every one of your agendas. And that is something that, the way I learned it, is after 20 years going through every single guru, teacher, metaphysical, business coach, everything that I learned from everything, and I realized that all they did is they taught me who I am not. And I'm going to tell you something. They all were great gifts in my life, because that's what I had to go through to get to where I am right now. But it reminds me of Jesus Christ in the Course in Miracles when he says, look, you don't have to go through the crucifixion. You don't have to go that far. But that's what we do all the time. That's what I love a line in the Course when he says, if you want to be like me, I'll teach you, knowing that you and I are the same. But if you want to be different, I'll wait till you change your mind. Because you will. Once you find out that everything that you strive for does not give you the happiness and the joy that is what you're really seeking. And that happiness and joy is right there, and all you need to do is simply open yourself up to the possibility, just to the possibility. You don't have to actually get it right. Open yourself up to be used, and God will find a way to take whatever it is that is much fulfilling to you, and He will express through. And one thing that I remember Dr. Cheryl Valentine says to me as a dear friend, and she says, when you surrender your life to God, you will never be asked to do something you don't want to do. So chill out, relax. However, you may find yourself doing something you may have never thought of. Remind me of Mr. Woods, high-ranking officer in Microsoft, and when he was in a trip to Nepal, he found himself that he felt moved to start just go ahead and giving books and scholars thing, how do you call it?
School supplies.
School supplies to children and everything in third world countries, whatever that means, you know. And he finally just gave up the career in Microsoft. He left the very high paycheck, and he went down to almost nothing. But he says, yes, I'm not going to deny that there are times in my life when I remember the amount of money that I used to make. But that does not compare to the happiness that I feel right now doing what I do. That's how simple it is. But the question is, how do I open myself up to letting go and letting God, which is the title of my book, What Happens When You Let God. Believe it or not, all that is asked of you is a willingness. That's all. You're not asked to drop your life the way it is right now, because that's too much of a jump. All you're asked to do is to simply be willing to step up to the plate. But I'm going to warn you from personal experience, and I'm going to tell you how it happened for me. In November of 2009, correction, November 2007, I got to a place in my life where it doesn't matter which way I go, I wasn't happy. When I was making money as a comedian, that was entertaining, but it wasn't happy anymore. When I was part of the self-help movement, which is for many years, but in this particular time, I was already working for a very well-known trainer. And there's something within me that says, there's something here that is missing, and I cannot point fingers to it. And I had all the tools. You name it, if they had an infomercial, I had it probably. And I even met many of them personally. But there was something that I said, there's something here that is not true. And I couldn't point fingers to it. So in November of 2007, I took every single book I've ever bought over the years when it's come to metaphysics, to spirituality, to how to feel good, to how to feel good, to how to get this, to how to get that, to how to make money on real estate, to how to make money on business, to how to run a business. Everything I've ever bought. Everything. And I mean, the Bible made it because I used it for quotes, but even that was going to go too. Okay? I put it in 2 big boxes, and I gave it to the Salvation Army. And I said, okay, God, I'm ready. And what happened is that my whole world was turned upside down. And the reason being is because how can you trust, how can you experience God taking care of you if you still have somehow an attachment to what you think is your source and supply in this world? If you think your job is your source of supply, get ready. If you think that your bank account is your source of supply, get ready. If you think that your source of supply of love is your relationship, get ready. But see, you don't have to lose any of that, because that's the gift that I remember. God will never ask to sacrifice anything of you, because God will never that to you. He loves you too much. What He's trying to do is let go. Let go of anything you're attached to, so I can show you that I am your source of everything. It's like the old quote from the Apollinaire when they're at the edge of the cliff or something, and the voice says, "Come to the edge." Anybody heard that quote before? You know, just so you know, it goes like this. There's this a couple, and this voice says, "Come to the edge," and they said, "I'm sorry, we're afraid." And the couple says, "Come to the edge." You know, imagine the Grand Canyon, come to the edge with a parachute. Yeah, come on, give me a break, you know, right? But the voice says, "Come to the edge," and the couple finally said, "Okay." They came to the edge. And they were pushed, and they flew. And then they turned around and beat the heck out of the boys for pushing them, but that's a different part of the story. But you see the metaphor. They had wings, they didn't know it. I'm here to tell you, not from theoretical understanding, not from books that I've read. From that day, on November of 2007, to this day, as I'm speaking with you right now, every single one of my needs have been met. I have no clue where the money showed up when it did. Many times I couldn't afford anything and just something happened. In other words, what happened is I was going through a process of purification so that I can see that no matter what, to keep my attention on God. Every experience you're going through right now, believe it or not, all it's doing is giving you an opportunity for you to put your attention away from illusions, away from the world of form, and on God. So that you can hang on to that and nothing else. That's all there is. There's no reason to panic. Because there's perfection in everything, even if you cannot see it. That's the challenge. That you don't see the perfection because we only see what's in front of us. God sees the whole picture. Be careful what you pray for, you might end up getting it. How many times you got the things you wanted and you end up paying the price? So I'm not going to deny that there's going to be a transition process, but it doesn't have to be painful nor scary either, because God is with you. And that's why He brought a Puerto Rican with an accent to get you going. But I'm here to tell you that the gift that I have by going through this experience is that some people talk about God being their source of supply. Some talk about it. I know that. Because now I understand what is meant by God being my source of supply. What it means is that when you open yourself up to Spirit, when you open up yourself to that part of yourself within you that is trying to birth through, which will carry you through whatever you have to go through so you can experience the gift that you are. If sometimes you get opportunities in the form of a job or a career or in the form of whatever that may be coming to you, you have to be aware that the money is not coming from them. It's coming from God, which comes through them because that is the effect that it was placed to help you, and the effect that will work for you may be different for me. But in the self-help movement, they're trying to look at somebody like her, okay, ask her questions. Okay, how do you become such a great singer-songwriter? Then they try to book together, they sell it to you thinking that you can be like her. And I'm here to, there's only one chicken soup for the soul. I don't care what they tell you. Okay? There's only one Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. There's only one Pink Floyd. There's only one Metallica. There's only one, sorry if you didn't like that name over there, but I'll throw it because they stood their thing. Our lyrics may be different, you know. But the point is that there's only one you. And I guarantee you, nobody can be like me. But I can be like you either. And I ask myself, God, what is my purpose here? What is it I'm to do here? Because I know how to motivate, I know how to inspire, but the problem is that my message is not clear. What am I here to do? I need to make a living, or what? And God says, Nick, here's the deal. You're not here to teach anybody how to get what they want. And I'm really good at that. You're here, remember this, you can't teach them what they want. You can teach them how to get what they want because they don't know what is in their best interest. And then the second step is that you're not here to coach anybody on how to get what they want because they don't even know what is in their best interest. You're here to send them over to me. And I said, God, how do I do so? Very simple. You start trusting yourself. You trust me first and show by example, not by words. And what I've learned is that life is like a big maze where there's a cheese at the other end. And we all see a wall in front of us. And there's a part of ourselves that says, be still. But the whole world is telling you, no, make a left turn. Or make a right turn. And that's where the confusion comes in. And you have to be courageous to be willing to listen. And why is it that that voice says, be still? Because I, as well as every single teacher out there, can only see what's in front of them. But the little voice within you sees that from the top. And my message to all of you, and you're more welcome to practice it if you want to, I'm just simply a messenger. I'm sharing you what I do with my life and from the background that I came through, is that each and every one of you has something that is far much greater than you can possibly imagine. And it's looking to be birthed within you. And I don't care what it is, and I don't care what you look like, I don't care what your age is, I don't care what your background is, because God doesn't see any of that. God sees little beams of light that wants to use to continue lighting up the world. That's what God sees. Yeah, well, my passion is painting and I'm 80 years of age. Well, start painting faster. Okay. All I'm here to tell you is that there is something that I can touch, I can see, I can feel, I can hear, because it's beyond intellectual understanding. One thing that I remember Reverend Beckwith says, and I will always remember this, says, you know, the thing about God is, if you can imagine it, that ain't it. If you can think of it, that ain't it. If you can hear it, that ain't it. If you can see it, that ain't it. And don't be fooled by anybody who claims that they've seen it, because see, God is beyond intellectual understanding. God is who you are, which will reveal itself when the intellect is out of the way. The intellect is the tool through which we may be able to communicate and do whatever we need to do when we seem to be in the body experience. That's what the Course in Miracles says. You use the body as an end, but when you use it as a means, that's what I do. Using a body as an end simply means that I am trying to do things to the pleasure of the body, pain and pleasure. But when you use it as a means, it's like when I'm open, then I am revealed through whatever it is that I'm here to do. And I went from stand-up comedy and music. And if you go to my website, truthandmiracles.com, you can watch my music videos. I have produced artists. You can see the whole gamut of things that I could do, and look what I'm doing right now. Because I'm not telling God my plans, and I'm here to tell you that when you open yourself to that, I don't know what your bank account will look like, because that's not even important. I don't know what your life is going to look like, but I guarantee you something. You will really understand experientially the true meaning of the word fulfillment. So I hope you have a wonderful 2010 and the years to come, and that's what I suggest as your new year's resolution. Thank you very much.